is up, you guys? This is Steffi, aka In My Humble Opinion, and welcome back to another video. This is the final video that I'm doing on this channel for Killing Eve, unless like I don't know what would possess me to make another video about Killing Eve, but like this is it. This is the end of the road. It's the journey.
It's the journey.
Ooh, what a journey it was. So, to finish off watching all 4 seasons now of Killing Eve, we are concluding with a post-mortem Q&A of season 4 of the series. Some of you submitted questions, and we are going to answer them. I will say, a little sad that no one submitted like a video of themselves asking questions. I think maybe you guys are just shy, or maybe you just don't want to be associated with the show anymore after that pitiful finale.
Life could be worse.
No, not really. This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's get into the questions. So, the first question that we got was from Uchechi. Uchechi, I really loved your message, by the way, because she did a whole rant. I can't play the entire thing, but I'll play a little bit right now.
It felt like just a kindergarten just put it together and we're forced to watch it. I wouldn't mind watching it if it was a kindergarten that made it, but you're a full-grown woman and you called yourself a writer.
Brilliant.
So the title card at the end that said, "The End," right? How did you feel about that? Laura Neal said, this is how we should have felt about it. He said, I hope when the end title card came up, viewers think that Eve is going to go on and have this amazing life. She's escaped. Carolyn thinks she's dead. So that's how Laura Neal wanted us to think about the end title card. Let me know your thoughts.
Well, how did I feel? It was not what Laura Neal wanted us to feel. My God.
You were never like them. I had a life. I had a husband and a house and a chicken.
You still want that stuff? When I try and think of my future, I just see your face over and over again.
What is it about her?
We are the same. I think my monster encourages your monster.
I think I wanted it too.
I don't think she cared. I don't think she cared about these characters. It's also just like so funny to me because she thinks she wrote the story in one way, yet Jodie and Sandra interpreted her script in a completely different way. So I'm just like, what in the... I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Man, wow. I feel like putting the end was kind of like a slap in the face. Like, I don't know if like anyone else felt that way or if that's me just being overdramatic, but I felt like that was such a slap in the face.
Totally.
And everything you thought you knew about who these characters were and what the story was, you're wrong. So that's how I felt when I saw the end. So the next question comes from Danny. Danny H. So do you think Carolyn was part of the 12 after all? Also, why did they randomly bring back Konstantin's daughter last episode if she wasn't going to be in the finale? Carolyn's involvement with the 12, like I said, I feel like I've been saying this for a very long time watching Killing Eve, but I really kept saying this throughout season 4. I really don't care about the 12. I never cared about the 12, and for sure after the finale, I feel very bitter about that 12 storyline because I feel like it really detracted from even Villanelle and just like more interesting directions that they could have taken the story. Whew. But do I think Carolyn was part of the 12 after all? Oh God, I don't know. I mean, we know that she named the 12. I don't know. I don't think she was part of the 12. Honestly, I really don't care. Why did they randomly bring back Konstantin's daughter? I think they brought Irina back just to tie up his storyline. I genuinely think that's the only reason why. Especially since like she was never alluded to in any of the previous episodes of season 4 up until that moment. So that should have been a clue and a hint that he was gonna die right there. They were just trying to tie up Konstantin's storyline. Next question. Gay for Satan asks, what do you think about the whole mini plotline of Irina? From what it seemed, she was going to become an assassin. Do you think this was half-baked, and do you think we'll see her in the spin-off show? I mean, it's kind of hard for me to answer this because I haven't seen season 3 since watching it on the channel. I've seen a couple episodes here and there, but I didn't sit through all of season 3, so I don't really remember what they did with Irina. But clearly the writers didn't either. Yeah, but I will agree with you. From what I can remember, I did think that she was going to be an assassin. Honestly, I mean, I feel like I'm answering a later question now, or bits of it, but I feel like they should have not had Pam. I think Pam should have been Irina instead. So yeah, I guess in a way I do think Irina's storyline was half-baked. I don't know if like this was like a logistical thing, if they couldn't bring that actress back because of scheduling or the pandemic or whatever. Yeah, I just felt like that was so shoehorned in last minute. And do I think we'll see her in the spin-off? I don't think so, because that spin-off seems like it's gonna be based in the past. Now, I won't be surprised though in the spin-off, like depending on if that happens or how long that lasts, I won't be surprised if you see a child Villanelle at some point, but seeing an Irina, I don't think so. So next question comes from Danielle from Michigan.
Hey Steffi, it's your girl Danielle from Michigan. Now, my question is, you've hit all the key points regarding the unanswered questions that we've had regarding the main storyline with the 12 and the character development, how that played out between Eve and Villanelle. But I want to take a step back and think about some of the supporting characters. I'm talking like Yusuf, Len, Pam. I even want to throw in like Gunn, Konstantin, and Carolyn, because it might be controversial, but I think Konstantin didn't really add any value to the season. Now, don't get me wrong, love Konstantin. I was really bummed out when he died, but what did he really do this season? I mean, if we really think about it, this again might have been just an impact of the loose writing this.
Okay, yeah, and then Danielle, she DM'd me that she got cut off for some reason, but she says, I don't know why I cut off, but basically I just ended up saying maybe Konstantin's story just fell victim to the writing, like everyone else. But yeah, just interested if you think any supporting characters actually helped the show this season. Yeah, I think you do have a really good point. Off the top of my head, like I think you can make stronger arguments for certain side characters helping the plot move more than others. Like, I mean, like Yusuf for sure, like why was he there? Hugo, like out of all the side characters that Killing Eve has ever had, like you bring him back. Pam, I liked Pam, but I really don't think she was necessary. Like I said before, I think Pam should have been Irina instead, because we already are emotionally attached to Irina in some way. She's Konstantin's daughter. Yeah, it's just like one less character that you have to introduce into the world of the show. Gunn, I mean, she was fun for an episode. I mean, I thought like the Eve and Villanelle episode 8, like when they were on Gunn's Island, I thought that was kind of fun. But ultimately, I guess you didn't really need her. As far as Konstantin, yeah, I really felt like Konstantin was just so like on his own this season. Carolyn, I think out of all of the supporting characters, was the one that was most instrumental to the plot of season 4. I don't know. It's so hard for me to just in general answer all of these questions, because like I think the more I honestly think about season 4, because the finale was just so bad, now all I'm thinking about with season 4 is just like how much I don't like it. Like, even if there were moments as I was watching season 4 where I was like, oh, that was good. Or like, I remember as I was watching season 4 being like, you know, I really think they're improving with each episode. Like now I'm like, was I just thinking that because I was looking at this through rose-colored glasses and I was just hoping that it actually was getting better, or was it really getting better? Like now I'm just like doubting my entire season 4 experience. So Nina from Switzerland. Hi Steffi, first of all, thank you so much for your Killing Eve reactions. They really brighten my days and I will always love hearing your thoughts on the episodes. The show is so special to me and over the years, I've connected with it on so many levels. putting the awful ending aside, I've got a more general question for you. Do you think it is ethically justifiable to root for Villanelle as a character? Isn't she, from a society point of view, a bad person, a serial killer who should be behind bars or even dead? Because to me, seeing such powerful women written by women portrayed in TV feels very important and necessary. What are your thoughts on that topic? Best wishes, Nina from Switzerland. Hey, Nina from Switzerland. I also DM'd Nina back after she sent this message, and I was telling Nina, like, oh my god, I wish Killing Eve went to Switzerland at some point so Villanelle could have done like an epic kill on the Swiss Alps, but now we will never have that. But that is a really interesting question. I mean, like, obviously, if Villanelle was a real person, as like glamorous and really entertaining as she is, if she were a real person, I'm not quite sure I would root for her in real life. I think I would just feel safer living in a world where she is behind bars. I mean, from a TV perspective, from an audience perspective, of course, like, I root for Villanelle. And even though, like, she is an assassin and she kills a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure, like, during season 1 and season 2, like, I was still like, oh, I don't really know how I feel about Villanelle. What the show did really well was they humanized her. And Jodie Comer was a huge part of that too. So even though, yes, she is an assassin, and ethically speaking, we shouldn't root for her, there was a willingness to change. And she was exploring her identity in a way that was unexpected from the character that we first met in season 1. Okay, next question comes from Zut G. Zut G says, hi, I'm French, and I wanted to know your opinion on the debate concerning the idea that this end is a new consequence of barrier gay phenomena. That is to say that queer characters must always meet a tragic end as soon as they find happiness. For my part, I think Killing Eve had to end dramatically because Killing Eve is a drama series. Nevertheless, what we have here is not a good ending. Yeah, for sure. I think Killing Eve definitely succumbed to the barrier gay trope, which sucks that a show like Killing Eve that started off so fresh made such a predictable choice. I know a lot of people can say, like, you know, it was inevitable that Villanelle was going to die, especially given that she was, you know, an assassin, but I feel like you can make the argument too that, well, if this is a show that was known for taking unexpected narrative choices, like, why would you go that route? Like, if that's what we're all expecting, like, don't do that. Anywho, wow, I feel like I didn't answer your question. Yeah, for me, I would say Killing Eve ultimately succumbed to the barrier gay trope. The last episode showed them as a couple, more or less, being happy, and then, like, right as they hug after defeating the 12, which, God, please don't remind me of that montage, Villanelle freaking dies. So yeah, for sure, for me, I would say it is definitely a barrier gay trope. Yes, even though Killing Eve had to end dramatically in some epic way, it didn't. You know when Helene died in this season and she told Villanelle, like, make it glorious? Like, they didn't make it glorious whatsoever. Helene's death was more glorious than Villanelle's death. Oh. Next question. James from England.
Hi, my name is James and I'm from England, and my question is, do you think Killing Eve should have ended with Series 3? I think we had some great scenes in Series 4, and Helene was amazing, but I personally think that a bittersweet ending on Tower Bridge is better than a final series with a messy narrative and a final 5 minutes we pretend don't exist. Like, come on, if you're going to kill Villanelle, at least kind of make it a long, painful scene so we can cry about it.
It's funny that you asked this because I have a podcast called Diva Dailies, and we did an episode. It wasn't about Killing Eve, but there was one particular episode where my co-host and I, we talked for like a good 25-ish minutes about Killing Eve, and this is when season 3 had just ended, and she had asked me at the time, like,
how upset would you be if they suddenly were like, we're just not continuing? Season 3, episode 8 is the last episode of Killing Eve. Would you be satisfied?
Oof. I guess theoretically on paper, at least I would be satisfied with the Eve, and because, like, in a way you can kind of read that as a series finale, because a lot of it was like, you know, bridge moment, Eve and Villanelle, they look back, what does it mean? And then, like, also Carolyn kind of plants the seed in Eve's head of like, you'll never catch the 12, like, it just will keep going and going and going. So there's that. So theoretically on paper that could kind of read as a series finale, but like emotionally, and it's just because I'm a huge like fan, I would want more, obviously. But now current Amy, present Amy, who has now seen what they had to offer in season 4, I will redact that statement and say I wish they ended on season 3. Even though, like, yes, there were some moments here in season 4 that we enjoyed, I think as a whole, season 4 just, like, it doesn't make sense on the pure fact that it operates as if, first of all, the season 3 finale never happened. Specifically thinking about the Eve and Villanelle scenes in the ballroom and on the bridge, like, they acted as if that never happened when you first see them in season 4. That's why I was so freaking confused. I'm still confused as to why Eve is so mad at Villanelle. I would have rather it have ended open-ended in season 3, because at least, like, you know, Eve and Villanelle are alive. It ends on, like, a hopeful note. That ending honored and stayed true to their relationship arc and their individual character arc in a way that season 4 finale just completely trashed that. Like, there was no progress made on the 12 ultimately. The progress that was made is that now Carolyn gets to go back to MI6. Which also, I'm just like, really, Carolyn? Like, after all this, you want to go back and work there? Like, ugh, I don't know. So yeah. In short, should have ended in season 3, or series 3, as you guys say over there. Okay, next question comes from Kaz.
Hey Steffi, it's Cassiopeia from New Jersey. My question is, if you could alter Killing Eve to make it your ideal show and also make more narrative sense, where in the series would you branch off? And what would you change from that point on, leading up until your dream, like, ideal finale? Like, what arcs, what storylines, like, what would you have happen if you could fix Killing Eve from a certain point on?
Ooh, Kaz, that's a really hard question, and I told you this when you messaged me, but I really appreciate that question. Gosh, okay. I also loved to make more narrative sense. Okay, hello. So this is editor Steffi here. I have to pause the video right here because when I filmed this, originally I spent like a good 35 minutes just rambling on about my different ideas of what season 4 could be. Trying to edit that just became a mess, and honestly it didn't really make any sense. I was so freaking all over the place. I don't know how I'm gonna edit that. So instead, I pretty much wrote down a SparkNotes version of what I would imagine season 4 to be. But before I get into it, I want to begin with a quote. So Phoebe Waller-Bridge once said that every moment in this show exists so that these two women can end up alone in a room together. And over the past couple of days, while I've been like deep in the throes of my Killing Eve grief, I've been reading different articles, and there was an article that I read where they referenced that quote, and they said season 4 should have explored what happens when they're in that room. And I completely agree. So with that being said, I think season 4 should pick up right from the bridge, or like a day or two after the bridge. Case in point, no time jump. I think doing a major time jump in season 4 was an awful idea. Initially, I think Eve and Villanelle should be on the run from the 12. Maybe like first episode of season 4, it's like Eve and Villanelle, it shows them a day or two after the bridge, and they're like trying to live their lives like separately, but then each of them kind of finds out in their own way that the 12 are after them, and then they find each other and they realize, you know what, like, it doesn't make sense for us to be separate if the 12 are after both of us, so let's just stick together. That would kind of be like the first 4 episodes, and I'm thinking like along the way there needs to be a conflict of interest between Eve and Villanelle, because it can't just be like sunshine and happiness and no conflict between the two, and it's also just like not them. So I think there needs to be a conflict of interest between Eve and Villanelle, and Villanelle clearly wants out of the 12, and Eve is pushy. She wants to find the 12 despite being on the run from the 12, and it makes a lot more sense than Eve dancing on a fucking boat. At some point within these 4 episodes, Konstantin is going to find them, and then he's also going to join them, because I would imagine the 12 is also on the hunt for Konstantin. Meanwhile, while all of this is happening, I think Carolyn is looking for Helene. And this is when we find out that Helene has bailed Irina out of jail so that Irina is going to become an assassin. No Pam. This is just, it's Irina now. We will see in the first 4 episodes that Helene is essentially building Irina up to be this badass assassin. So ultimately, her big target is Villanelle. And along the way, her smaller kills are going to be people that we've seen before because they're guilty by association through Eve and Villanelle. So maybe like they'll go after a bitter pill employee, etc., etc. I have to shout out my Instagram buddy Sean, because that whole idea and concept of like, you know, killing previous characters, that is all him. Credit to him. And because of that, Sean will get a co-writing credit for this. So around the halfway point of my ideal season 4, I want to keep that Helene kill. I think that Helene kill might have been one of my favorite parts, arguably my favorite part of season 4. So we want to kill Helene by the midpoint. Now this is when things start getting a bit murky and unclear, because I personally still don't really have an understanding of the 12, and I genuinely don't think Carolyn is as involved with the 12 as other fans are theorizing, because if she was, that would sort of retcon the logic of previous seasons, especially season 1. Like the whole entire series started with Carolyn approaching Eve because she wanted Eve to find Villanelle so that Villanelle could lead them closer to the 12. But if Carolyn was part of the 12 or even head of the 12, like that doesn't make any sense. So I really don't think Carolyn is as involved with the 12 as like other people are theorizing, but maybe I'm just personally not smart enough to like write some sort of story where, you know, that makes sense. But next page. Okay, so yeah, this is where I'm kind of stuck. I don't really know what would happen like in episodes 5, 6, and 7, but ultimately my North Star is that the overall idea theme of the season is acceptance. Like acceptance is my North Star of this ideal season of mine. And I think a good chunk of the season, but series as a whole, is Eve and Villanelle's struggle for acceptance of themselves and reconciling all of the messy parts of their identity, i.e. like Eve embracing Dark Eve, Villanelle realizing she's not this unlovable, heartless monster because, you know, to quote Eve, she's many things, right? So, and then obviously, you know, accepting their relationship and their feelings that they have for each other. So because this is Killing Eve, somehow their story will culminate in this like epic, over-the-top way, maybe showdown with the 12, maybe halfway point, instead of being on the run from the 12, they're trying to actively find the 12. I don't know, but this all ends with them faking their deaths, just like in the book, and assuming new identities. Therefore, in that way, we can honor the title of the show, which is Killing Eve, in case we all forgot, because not only by this point would quote-unquote Eve Pilastri have died, because, you know, now they have new identities, but normal, complacent Eve is dead as well, and she is living her best life in Alaska with Villanelle. I know that might sound cheesy to some people, but this is my ideal season, and in my head, I think this makes more thematic sense to the show versus whatever they actually did in season 4. I also just want to say too, while editing this video, there's an article that just came out. One of the writers of season 4 said that when she had signed on to become a writer for Killing Eve, it wasn't just for season 4. There was supposed to be season 5, but then something happened. So the fact that we were supposed to, in another alternate universe, have 5 seasons of Killing Eve, and maybe that's what ultimately effed their story, is kind of breaking my heart. But anywho. Last question. Oh my god, the last Killing Eve question. Okay, comes from Rom from Cincinnati. Rom says, "Hey girly, my question for you and everyone is why?" Oh, Rom, what a great question. The Killing Eve book series, written by a straight cishet white man, ends with Eve and Villanelle, Oksana, living in the suburbs, trying their best to deal with their trauma as their love for each other gets them through each day. So, why? Why did a show that constantly went on and on and on about how feminist it was, and when it was too white, how diverse it was, and when it was too straight, how they had a sapphic writer create a show that ends with the annihilation of its sapphic characters as if it were written by cishet white men? The very thing the show purported to be against. I mean, what is the point of having such diverse perspectives if you are going to deliver the same old queer tragedy? I didn't cry when Villanelle died. Not a tear. Literally watched the show from its early premiere and I did not cry. Left me with the same coldness as Game of Thrones, and that is devastating in and of itself. Sighs into eternity. IDK bestie, what do you think? Oh, Rom, girl, boy, they, them, I am there with you. Yeah, I'm really at this point when, for right now, when I think about Killing Eve, I'm just very disappointed. I'm really disappointed because the show was like so good at one point, and just the fact that like it is now on a list of worst series finales ever, like they shouldn't be on that list. Yet here we are. So to answer your question, why? Like I find myself asking that too. Like now I'm like, what even was the point of this story if your characters' arcs ended in the way that they did? You know, I don't know what this show at the end of the day was trying to tell us. Like I don't know what story it was trying to tell us. And not to say that like, you know, Killing Eve is a show that I look to for life lessons, but the general themes and the thesis of the show, I feel like were completely lost by the time they got to their series finale. In hindsight now too, like the show started with Eve really getting the chance to leave normalcy. Like Villanelle was the spark that made Eve feel alive, and she was the motivation behind Eve realizing that she didn't want a normal typical life with a husband and a chicken and whatnot. And it's like so bizarre to me that in the final 2 episodes, that same character was being told by like the therapist and Yusef and like other people, like, you know, you should go back to your normal life. And for Laura Neal to suggest that ultimately that's what Eve wanted, and that's why Eve, when she's screaming in the river by herself, that it was a scream of triumph in survival. I'm just so confused. What was she escaping from? Like, what has she survived? Because if anything, I feel like she is back to square one, but worse, because now she's like really alone. So I don't know. And then like just thinking about Villanelle too, like this is an assassin who was very single-minded, cold-blooded, and then she meets Eve, and Eve is someone who inspires her in some way to tap into her humanity and be vulnerable. I just like, when I think about the ending, like the fact that like both of those women were essentially punished for trying to leave their version of normal, I think is really sad. Like, is that what you're trying to tell me, Killing Eve? Because like that's not, like, if I was thinking back on season 1 and 2 and even 3, like if I were to gain a message from Killing Eve, it was not that. And for the final act of this show to punish these women, especially these queer women, in such a way, it's so insulting. It diminishes the legacy of this show, and it makes me sad to say that, and it sucks because this show was really good and I hate that it had this kind of ending. So to answer your question why, I don't know. Well, that is it. That's how we're going to end Killing Eve on this channel. It sucks that it had to be that way, but it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and please turn on the notification button down below so you know when a new video from me comes out. Comment down below, I don't know, how are you guys feeling after, you know, it's been almost like 2 weeks since that finale aired, and I think I will forever be scarred by what they did to this show. So let me know, how are you feeling? I also just want to say too, thank you guys so much for watching, being on this Killing Eve journey with me over like the past couple years or so. I started watching Killing Eve in 2020 during the pandemic. Whether you just found my Killing Eve videos a couple days ago or you watched it with me back when the pandemic was starting, I really do appreciate you like being here with me. Even though the show didn't end the way we wanted it to, I think a good part of me doing these kinds of videos is that we all kind of got to experience it together in some way. So at least we will always have that. And I also know too, some of you are going to watch Jodie Comer in her play in the UK, so you are so lucky. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine what it must be like to watch Jodie Comer act like in person. So have the best time. And yeah, that is pretty much it. I also know some of you were wanting to know like what is the next show I'm going to be reacting to. I am only going to be doing reaction videos for one more show, and that is The Crown. I'm doing reaction videos to the last 2 seasons, but until then, like, I'm pretty much phasing out reaction videos. Maybe they'll come back, but for right now, I'm really trying to phase them off of my channel because I want to go in a different direction. It's still going to be pop culture oriented, where we talk about, you know, different TV shows and films, but trying to get away from reaction videos. So yeah, I hope you'll stick around for that. It's still gonna be me, so it's just, you know, different kinds of videos. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Killing Eve, man, still one of my favorite shows, but Oof, that ending though. But all right, well, as always, everything I said was just my own personal thoughts and all my humble opinion. I'll see you guys in the next one. You know what I also forgot to say too in this video? What happened to Villanelle's looks this season? Like literally, why? What?